Film Buffering.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Film Buffering. I'm one of your hosts, Colter Harkins. I'm here today with Todd Fowley and Alex Tate. We're here to talk to you about a very important Christmas movie. It is Klaus.
Hello? Jesper Johansson, postman. Mr. Klaus, you have a gift. You were meant for making toys. So I figured if you donate your old toys, I'll deliver them for free.
Tonight, I go with you.
There's no need for you to come with me, really. Tonight, then.
Our cousin told us if we write a letter to Mr. Klaus, he'll make us a toy. Dear Mr. Klaus. Dear Mr. Klaus.
Shall we then?
Yep.
Mr. Klaus is the coolest.
Klaus? What about me? Ow! What the loser? Oh yeah, well if I'm a loser, then you're too far. You're gone.
Hey, what do you guys think you're doing? This is Smeerensburg, the unhappiest place on earth. And you two can't change that.
The postman and toymaker are brainwashing everyone!
We need to show people that a true, selfless act always sparks another.
Hi! What's happening right now? Oh no.
Holy mother!
What happened?
Not a word. You just sit there, be all magical and awesome.
Jesper, we're doing it. Let's go.
Wait, time out. Really? That's how you laugh? Come on, we're running out of time. Those kids are counting on us.
If we don't stop them tonight, this town will never be the same!
Destroy those toys.
No! Ah! Ha! Eat our snow, you... They're not attached. Why aren't they attached? I thought they were attached. I would never, in a million years, have done what I just did if I didn't think these were attached.
Always
Well, clearly, this is the true origin of the holidays. Alex, tell us more.
A simple act of kindness always sparks another, even in a frozen, faraway place, where when Smeerensburg's new postman Jesper befriends toymaker Klaus, their gifts melt in age-old feud and deliver a sleigh full of holiday traditions. Starring Jason Schwartzman as Jesper, J.K. Simmons as Klaus, Rashida Jones as Alva, Will Sasso as Mr. Ellingboe, and Joan Cusack as Mrs. Krum. Also, many children that you will know their names someday, maybe.
But it is not this day.
The 30 children that are credited in this film.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
All right, Todd, what do you think about this movie?
Man, this is a great movie. If you don't like this movie, I kind of worry about you. And yeah, I mean, I have absolutely no problems with anything about this movie. It was like fun. It was unexpected. It felt original. It was funny. And it was like a great movie for both kids and adults, I think. I think everyone can enjoy it. And what a pleasure it is to find new content with Norm Macdonald after his passing. It is, when I heard his voice, it was just like, oh man, I just remembered how much I missed that dude again. So it was just fun time all around. I like it a lot.
It was a nice salve for the wounds, for sure, just to hear his voice again. I agree with you on that. Alex, what are your thoughts? This was your recommendation. Why did you say we should watch this movie?
I watched this movie for the first time last year, and I absolutely love this movie.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
It's like quickly jumped to near the top of my Christmas favorites. Like, we will definitely watch this every year. Like, it's that good, in my opinion. It's on par with like Emperor's New Groove in like how funny it is. The animation is like a super unique animation style, but it's like beautifully animated. The acting is great. The storyline is great. You know what I hated? The trailer. I watched the trailer, and you guys just did too, or you skipped through it. It is not the movie.
You sit on a throne of lies.
Like, it really isn't. You guys should watch the trailer if you haven't. It's like it's talking about the toys, and it's like, it is not how the movie is at all. The movie is so much better than the trailer.
Yeah, we'll say there was a giant billboard for it next to our apartment in Toluca Lake, California. And I kept looking at it, and it was like it was just like a generic picture of the Klaus character and some toys. And I was like, so what? Like, what is, like, no reference of like what this movie is about or anything. It was just the most undersold, but very well done movie, I think, of like one of those animated films that, like, I mean, Disney, Pixar, DreamWorks, they just pump so much like steam behind their ad campaigns for all of their animated films, and this one somehow just completely was left behind in that, and it was so well done. I totally agree with you, Alex. It just made me think so much of Emperor's New Groove. In the style, the humor, the pacing, like everything about it, that was just this super well crafted animated film that you have to watch to appreciate all of the little details that they put into it that make the humor happen. It was very much a film oriented experience where it was super well crafted, but it's so many minuscule details that add to whatever the experiences that you're having. So funny, so well written, extremely well acted. I was asking Abby who she thought that the actors were, and she thought that Jason Schwartzman was Ryan Reynolds for a little while, which I thought was hilarious. And then I listened to it, I was like, oh yeah, he does totally have that kind of Ryan Reynolds, like, dry delivery in this character, but it's so funny. Like, it's super well performed, well acted, well crafted. Really, like, as you said, it reminds me of the first time I watched Prince of Egypt, that really unique blend of computer graphic mixed with a really interesting drawing style. So I was like reading about the guy was trying to initially wanted to do just like a 2D traditional animation style, and decided to try to mix it in with the computer animated 3D style. So it has this very unique feel to it, where it's kind of in between the two things that we're used to. But I think that created this very cool experience in the movie, and totally unexpected because we didn't hear about it. I mean, I would be surprised if anybody that's watching this had heard of it even last year when it was nominated for an Academy Award. Like, and it just totally flew under the radar.
It deserved to be Best Picture consideration, Best Animated Picture for sure. Like, it was that good. And it was, I think last year we just stumbled upon it because we were like watching a Christmas movie every day or something, and we're like, okay, this one. And we watched it. I was like, why have I never heard of this? Like, this is fantastic.
I mean, especially with, like, they have famous people in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, even if it was this director's first time directing a film, it was still like good. They put the money into the people to put them into the movie.
Try saying that 5 times faster.
It wasn't a traditional where like the villain really ever has the upper hand kind of movie. It was like the whole time the villains are just stupid and they're just trying to foil this plot, and but the good guys are just, they're just running the show because they're the ones with the good hearts and the ones who have, the whole moral of the thing being, like a simple act of goodwill or kindness, like sparks another and I just really appreciate that message too. It was just very well executed moral for the movie too, and it made you feel good while you were watching it. It's just especially, I mean, and it's like super cliche to say nowadays, but it's like we feel so divided in many ways in today's climate, and just like a simple, like, do unto others kind of moral for this thing was super fun. And the Klaus backstory with his wife and everything just added so much more. It had a lot of heart.
But they also did have a true villain in the sense that they needed to just give us that little bit of extra. They did such a nice job of balancing, like, not everyone's perfect, but we're all trying to learn it, and we can learn a lot by just doing good deeds. And it's almost like one of those, like, if you smile, you'll eventually become happy kind of a thing. But they executed it so well that you did, like, oh yeah, if you do a good thing, it does beget good.
That's me. That's me. And that's 3 people. And I'm going to help them.
When I really liked that Jesper's character, like, he was growing with the film. As the film progressed, he was growing and, like, really changing, and you could tell he was changing. Whereas a lot of films, it's like, no, they're tricking everyone the whole time, and then they kind of have a aha moment at the end. Whereas Jesper's character wasn't really realizing that he was changing, but he really was like, he really was growing as a character and as a person. He was never like, ha, I'll get these people. He was like, oh man, I need letters. How am I going to do this? He wasn't trying to trick them for like maybe a selfish reason, but not like a evil reason, or like he wasn't doing it to hurt other people, which was good because you still cared about him. You were never like, this is a bad dude. You're like, oh, he's trying, and he really grows throughout this film. And by the end, you really love all the characters, and you want them to all succeed.
Success will be mine at last.
Again, it kind of goes back to that Emperor's New Groove, where you're just presented with such a spoiled but like interesting character they get to watch kind of slowly change through the goodness of the people around him. And even though he has ulterior motives, you get to see how he affects change, and how also he is affected by the change that he's created. And I think that's a good message to give to people. This is a guy who needs to grow and got put into a harsh situation and was able to grow. Right. What can we learn from that?
I think that, Todd, like you were saying, the character of Klaus and his backstory with his wife and making those birdhouses and stuff, and it was a really, like you said, it's full of heart. It was a very emotional movie. Like, I was nearly brought to tears several times. It was just like, I don't know, they got that element into it so well, and you just really fell in love with all the characters. Kind of going to be a boring episode because we have nothing negative to say.
Abby was very confused to throw my wife not under the bus, but Abby was very confused by the giant characters that both family had, which they tied into the end of it. But also, I was like, is this like a weird inbred plot? Are they going to end up just like having them be part of the same family initially or something? Like, what is, like, obviously there's correlations of like every side has the same issues. Really, I think is what they were trying to represent by the way that they stylized them. But it was just like a, what? And then they,
it was kind of weird.
Played it out in the end.
Yeah,
but hilarious, dude. So funny.
Yeah, the girl.
Both of those characters cracked me up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was just all around hilarious. The subtle jokes, like, I think one of my favorite jokes was the little girl just there, like, putting the carrot into the snowman, like slowly stabbing. Like just when he
like a
first
joke
shows
that
up.
they fully recycled and built on throughout it. Like
Yeah.
so much great visual humor. It was seriously one of the most visually enthralling movies. There are so many moments where I was I wanted to be distracted and do something else, and I was like, no, this movie, I will miss so much of what's going on if I don't watch this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And even just like the things that they don't really point to, like a freaking there's like a half a ship. I don't know if you saw that, like crashed into the mountain, like all kinds of things that just like these centuries or whatever of this civil war. Yeah. And just this society that's just completely built on that, and they don't even blink,
Yeah. The whalebone
really cool
skeleton that they reutilize and turn into the Christmas tree later on. Like so many
I didn't even see
things that they recycle throughout. Like it was no wasted moment in this thing. I was trying to say, there's not a moment that they didn't present something that they were going to come back to later on.
Yeah, it was a really great story, and man, it was good. I was kind of worried I wasn't going to like it as much the second time, and I think I liked it more. I liked it more the second time. I loved it the first time, and the second time I was just, noticing little different details in it. The only thing, I do have one little complaint. I didn't like Joan Cusack as the grandma role, or like the leader of the... But she did fine as an actress. I just don't think her voice really fit that character.
Is that my voice? Is that my voice?
Whatever. Maybe I was just seeing Jessie from Toy Story. I don't know. It's not really her fault.
I thought she did. I have the opposite. I thought she did a phenomenal job, because I feel like Will Sasso is someone that I normally like, and I feel like he was totally forgettable. He was like a side character to her character, and I think that she did such a good job with it.
That's what I'm saying. I didn't have a problem with her performance.
Yeah,
just her voice as that character for whatever reason. It's like you see, you hear someone on the radio or whatever, and then you see them, and you're like, what? That's their voice? It's kind of like that similar type of thing where I'm just like, I don't think that really fits. But whatever.
You too strongly associate a voice with something. It totally messes with you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if it was an original song, but when they were like giving the sled to that girl, play it right now for you for a second.
It's called Invisible is the name of it.
It's a beautiful song, at least with those visuals, and like almost made me cry for sure. Like it was just so great.
Well, and we talked about other movies where we're like, all right, if you're gonna have it be a musical, keep it consistent throughout the whole movie. If you're gonna have it not be a musical, then But this one, it had like one random like kind of musical pop interlude, but it just totally nailed it. I agree. Like it didn't bother me at all, and it just really fit well.
Well, I think the other movie that does that really well is Toy Story, because Toy Story I think has like 2 songs in it, but it's not like, again, it's not like jarring. It just works for some reason.
Well, even
how they crafted it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is in this one they utilized multiple instances of songs that weren't really fitting what was going on or the scenario, but they had the actors play along with it, or the characters play along with it, and they did it multiple times, and so it wasn't just one instance of it that didn't make any sense, where it just totally push you out of it. They did it once, then they did it again later on, and so it was that echo, and so it was like, okay, this is a world where we can do that, and it makes sense. But it even changing the attitude of animated characters helps to make that work.
Yeah. I love that how like the legend of Santa Claus was kind of growing as the movie progressed. It was just really great. And then
they found ways to make it like a natural thing. They found a way to like make it work into the frame of what was going on.
Right. And then at the end, I love that they were kind of like, and then he turned into the real Santa Claus, and like, and I get to see my friend once a year or whatever. And then I don't know, it was just a beautiful movie. I It's great.
Yeah, suck it, the
It's-
Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Your
Hey.
crap movie.
Hey,
That movie's good too.
A little weight? Does this look like a little weight to you?
We were talking about like the character growth earlier. I think that they did a really nice job of every character grows in this movie.
Yeah.
It was
that's
not
true.
just the main character. It was every character was a protagonist essentially in this movie, because every character goes through a change and a growth throughout the
Yeah.
course of this film, which you don't get to see that often. It wasn't just one person changes and like, why isn't everybody else on board with this? Everybody had to change to make this thing happen.
The city and Klaus and the teacher, Rashida Jones's character. Yeah, you're right. They all changed, and it was cool to like see the city change as well. It was like a visual change, you know. The city got cleaned up, and the school became a school, and man, so many great elements to this movie. It's definitely worth a watch, and then it's worth a watch again. Like, it's one of those movies that has huge rewatchability, in my opinion. Like, you could definitely watch this every Christmas and be happy about it. Watch
For
this,
sure.
you watch Elf, you watch It's a Wonderful Life, and you're good.
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, George! Merry Christmas, George! Merry Christmas, movie house! Merry Christmas, Emporium! Merry Christmas, you wonderful old building and loan!
The visual element of the little girl who speaks a different language, but then they give her color, and they do all these things that like they weren't. It was kind of like the antithesis of what we normally see when you introduce an other character in film. Of you normally like differentiate them by having them be less colorful or less interesting or something else that were like, or less attractive, whatever. There's so many different ways that the other gets introduced into a film, and this, they're like, all of a sudden there's this very colorful, happy person who doesn't speak the language. And so that the way that they even introduced that whole society and the way that they incorporated that, like, I mean, it was such a great way to just talk about, I'm not going to try to get political, but like immigration and everything else, like the other is still a fully fleshed out people with their own story and their own life, even if you don't understand it. I think that they did such a good job with that.
Well, I think their message might have been like how love spreads. It doesn't know borders. It goes, you know, love and good deeds spread everywhere. There's no stopping it. Even if you don't realize how it spreads, it can go anywhere.
Love now! Create! Inspire!
I thought they did a really solid, like just a great job of like building like this kind of parallel universe version of the world that's not quite real, but you know, it's like got elements from our world, but also it's got a weird like army of mailmen like training in a camp somewhere. And then like the beginning when he first went to Smeerensburg,
I think that's right.
Dude, like just the whole opening sequence where he's in there and he accidentally rings the bell and people just come out and start like beating each other. Like it was just such like bizarre, immersive, crazy, like just insanity.
And the girl with the carrot walks into the mist.
Up until that point, I was kind of like, this movie is pretty good. And then like right when that started happening, I'm like, this is very funny. And I think I'm going to like this. It's like this Gangs of New York battle.
Totally. That's exactly right.
Yeah, with the mist. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just so funny.
But yeah, going back to like the filmmaking element of like they stole in the best possible way from Gangs of New York, from Emperor's New Groove, from all these films that really worked well and incorporated them and then made it unique in the way that they approached it. Like you can, if you really watch it, you can connect those elements if you're trying to watch it from a critical standpoint. But as a whole, it just works because they did such a great and gorgeous job of incorporating all of those elements and making them specific to their film and what they were doing. But even like I was going to say the way that they echo with the giants, and even the way that they crafted the families. It's that element of like, we are the same, even though we're on opposite sides so much.
We are same, but different, but still same.
And I think, we could say that the moral was based on, like, if you, be good so you can get presents. But I also think that the moral was more like Klaus's generosity sparked change in this town.
Well, and even on top of that, I think generosity in the face of like sadness, like in the face of like Klaus was giving in spite of his situation, because he had crafted this idea of what his life should be, and then that was taken from him, and in spite of that, he was able to give to what he wished he could have had. And I think that they did so many elements of like where like you have a pampered kid who doesn't have what he wants but tries to make the most of it. You have a group of people who are stuck in their ways, and then through the even if they're incentivized for change, the children that change and actually do generate good behavior that begets good behavior, that just becomes a pattern. And so I think there's so many ways that they approached it, that it wasn't just one message. It was like there's so many different ways that we're all affected by patterns in our life, by disappointment, by so many things, by expectation. And then they just upended all of that and said, what happens if we just do the best that we can and make the best world that we can? And I think that it wasn't an overt message, but it was always there. And I think they did a really good job of just cohesively making that happen for every character in the film. I mean, the teacher, like reaching into her savings to give to the kids, like all these different things. Every character echoed the idea of make the most of your situation by giving of yourself or changing your behavior. Let's get to the point. How many thumbs does this movie deserve? Let's start with you, Todd. Final thoughts on how many thumbs are you giving this movie?
I said it in my intro, and I didn't talk about it at all while we were reviewing it. But again, just the fact that this is like the final film that Norm Macdonald was involved in. He's just such a great soul. That's a total side note, but that's just a very special thing for me that this was such an incredible movie. And also, man, we've said 100 good things about it. We haven't said really anything bad about it at all, other than Alex's disdain for Joan Cusack's voice. I'm giving this thing 10 thumbs. 10. Thumbs. Yeah, unbelievable.
10 thumbs out of 10. That's pretty strong. Alex, final thoughts. How many thumbs out of 10 are you giving this movie?
As I said, this quickly, almost instantly became one of my favorite Christmas movies that I've ever seen. I will watch it every year. 10 out of 10 thumbs.
I think for me, Emperor's New Groove was a movie I watched at I don't know how many times. And this immediately resonated in that way that they use. I mean, just overall in the structure, the quality, the animation, everything about it, the voice acting, it was so strongly crafted, so well done, so many fun elements, and a great message all around. I don't think that you can make just a more consistent, good all-around film. It wasn't a miss. I will agree. I think it's 10 out of 10 thumbs for me. I think it's our first fully...
That's our first
10 out of 10 for any movie that we've done so far in this podcast.
And right before Christmas.
It's a Christmas miracle.
We did it, guys.
We did it. It's the perfect movie.
It's Klaus. Go watch it.
Well, speaking of the perfect movie, next week we're going to talk to you about something else entirely. It is the Star Wars Holiday Special.
Who are you? And what are you doing in this Wookiee house?
Mama, it's so good to see you. Happy Life Day. She says it may be a happy life day for you, but personally, she's seen happier ones.
You mean they haven't arrived yet? That Imperial Patrol must be giving them more trouble than we bargained for.
Why do I always think that taking you home for light day is going to be easy?
We started a search operation. It's just a matter of time before we find the rebels.
I want the rebels located and identified, if it means searching every household in the system.
Well, thank you so much for joining us once again. It's the holiday season. Give your family some love. Give your friends some love. Like and subscribe if you love us. And we'll see you next time. Tell your friends we love you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Ho, ho, ho.
God bless us.
God bless us, everyone. The love we found. The love we found, we carry with us, so we're never quite alone. The love we found, the love we found, the sweetest dream that we have ever known.
Hey, Seagull!
Film buff.